Welcome to Deep River Farm, folks. I want to talk a little bit today about what the problem is with the farms. Probably don't realize it, but probably 80% of the farms out there rely on government subsidies to survive. Why is that? Mainly because the people have been pretty much pushed into eating processed foods. Processed foods is what people go after. They go to the grocery store and they buy all this stuff that's processed meats, canned meats, all this type stuff, and they're getting away from your traditional meats and traditional poultry and fish and so forth. And why is that? Because it's cheaper. People don't realize that the farms themselves are producing 100% pure beef, pure chicken, pure turkey, and so forth. But it's a whole lot easier for a processor, some big processor, to come in here and take this meat and cut it up and process it into bologna and hot dogs and stuff like that, turkey bacon and just junk like that, and they sell it for a lot cheaper, and people buy it because they cannot afford, with the way the inflation's going, to buy meat. Now, I saw a thing on social media. Don't know if it's true or not, but they was showing a post where they was paying 99 cents a pound for the rolled tubed hamburger, and this was in 2021. And today, that same 100% Angus beef in a rolled tube was $10.52 a pound. What an increase! So the 5-pound tube in 2021 was costing $5.99, somewhere about there, $5.92. I don't remember exactly, but the same tube in the same store with the same weight was $55 now. So, you know, farms can't sustain themselves with the way this stuff's going, and people eating all this lunch meat and all this garbage, and you know, the government's fine with it. You know, if you can eat all that stuff long enough, you're gonna wind up having health issues. Well, that's fine with them too, because they wanna treat you with a bottle of pills or you know, something like that, and then send you home and keep you dependent on that bottle of pills for the rest of your life. And a lot of these substances that are in the foods, a lot of food coloring and things like that they readily put and dump in our food here, is banned overseas. But in the name of money, over here in the United States, it's endorsed, and it's harming people, and it's harming the farms. And you know, people that's growing stuff now, there's no money in it. There is absolutely no money in farming. And you see a lot of people trying, but if you got to realize what they're doing is they're working a full-time job, and maybe if they've been lucky, they were inherited a small farm, but they can't run that little farm and turn enough profit to live. So, you know, they've got a hay field, but they're working a full-time job, but they'll cut that hay field, you know, and sell that round bale for what the going rate now is about $75 a round bale, you know, and they cut that twice or 3 times a year, and that's all they can do. Now, they can't make a living. And you know, if they had beef cattle on it that would be grazing that, they couldn't cut the hay. And it takes you know, about 1.5 acres to feed a cow. And then it's going to take 2 to 3 years if you do it right and you don't feed them steroids and juice them up on all this corn and all this feed stuff in these feedlots. It's going to take 2 to 3 years to grow that beef out. So, you know, they're only going to have about 10 cows, 15 cows to graze that. Especially if that's the only pasture and they're going to be grazing it year round. You know, it'll get overused. So they can't have too many cattle. They can't put a cow for every 1.5 acres. They're going to have to cut way back and do it that way. And you know, it's going to take 3 years before they ever carry those cattle to the market. So you got that to consider. So, and you know, beef's going to get real high, folks. I'm going to just tell you, it's going to get real high. The way they're pushing right now, you got all these farms receiving grants and subsidies just to survive. And, you know, I was reading the other day where the milk, the dairy milk, those guys that are doing that, if they didn't have government subsidies, they would not make it, because milk just does not sell high enough. And you know, that's their only source. And the only way a lot of these farms are making it is having multiple ways of making income. And the way all the regulations are against you, you can't go out here and raise 50 hogs and turn around and kill the hogs and process them yourself without being in a world of hurt. So you got to pay to have that stuff done. Well, when you have to pay to have that done, that guy's got to make some money. So you know, you're beating your head against the wall because of all the regulations and stuff. And I realize, you know, you got to make sure all your equipment and stuff's clean and all that stuff. But you know, right now there's a big thing going with the listeria running around in 18 states due to one of these processing plants. What's the name of that company? Boar's Head. Boar's Head's got a big problem with listeria, and they've got people sick in 18 states. I think last I heard 9 people had died. So you know, that comes from not properly cleaning your equipment, or something come in infected, or I don't know what that listeria is, but it's bad news, because they say you can go a couple of weeks before you ever know you got it, and before you come down sick, and once you come down sick, you're in bad shape. But it's a real bad revolving door. The EPA and all these 3-letter agencies and stuff, they're out for the farmers. They're trying to tax the farms out with this unrealized capital gains tax. That's going to be bad news. That's going to shut a lot of farms down. When you're having to pay property taxes on stuff year after year, like we do in North Carolina for farm equipment, it don't matter what it is. If you've got it, they want to tax you for it. And that needs to stop, because all they're doing is taxing people so bad they can't afford to have nothing. Especially when you go to the grocery store and you carry out 4 bags and it's $100. Used to, we had a little saying that was funny. You said you carry a bag out of the grocery store and it's $10 a bag. Well, now it's $25 a bag, and you ain't hardly got nothing in it. But you know, and that's the way they're going. These tree hugging people, they want to shut you down because you got some kind of a I don't want to say both words, but a part of it's tied into the word footprint. And you know, 3 or 4 years ago, they was praising the small gardens and small farmers that was growing produce, that it was good for the environment and everything to raise all this stuff, and the plants was pulling in the CO2 and putting oxygen out and stuff. But now the same company, same people that wrote that article is now condemning the small farms and the gardeners, saying that it's 6 times the footprint of a commercial farm. And you know, and the regulations and stuff they've got behind everything now, farmer can't make it. I know in the chicken business, and I'm going to say that because I'm very familiar with it. I know years and years ago when you had a chicken farm, they would come in, you'd get a flock done, you'd run 68 weeks, and you'd have your chickens going out because they'd done pretty much laid out. In other words, they was going their downwind side, and the most egg laying took place between 22 weeks and 68 weeks, and after 68 weeks they wanted to take the chickens because they were no longer profitable. Well, just as soon as you got the chicken house cleaned out and everything, they'd come in there and they'd spray it and disinfect it, and then they said, well, we're going to have to upgrade this. We got to put in an automatic nest system. And see, up until that point, we literally walked through the chicken house and went nest by nest and picked up the eggs. Then they come in and said, we got to have automatic nest. The chicken's got to go in there and lay an egg, and it's got to roll out on the conveyor belt. It's going to cut down your time. Well, it did till the belt started breaking and the motors started going out and the pads got full of chicken manure, and you have to go through and pull all the pads out, wash all the pads. It didn't save no time. Only at the beginning when it was new did it save time. But that was a requirement. And then they come in and said, it's too hot in the chicken house, and we've done this study, and the fertility rate of the eggs is not any good. After it's about 91 or 92 degrees, the fertility rate drops in the eggs, so now we got to air condition the house. So then the farmer had to spend all of his money air conditioning his chicken houses. And it was just one thing after another. You never could hardly break even. Now they say that you have to have 6 chicken houses just to break even, because of all the upgrades and all the regulations and this, that, and the other. And if you ain't dealing with upgrades and regulations, you're dealing with, you don't have enough land because you got too many chicken houses. Now you got to have 10 more acres to have a chicken litter plan to get rid of all the chicken manure, and it can't be on somebody else's land. You have to have all the land to be able to spread it on. So they're trying to beat the farmer out with regulation, taxation, and drive them out with processed foods, and that's what they're behind, because once the processed foods get involved, people start having health problems, and then they turn around and have to go depend on going to the doctor and getting prescribed a bunch of pills to be on, and that's what they want, because they're already in control of the insurance, the government is, and they're already in pretty much being run by who the pill pushers are, the people that are manufacturing them things. I heard a good one the other day. A guy said that politicians ought to be required to wear a jacket, just like NASCAR, that's got all of the people that own them on it, who they're getting paid off by. Wouldn't that be something? That tells you a whole lot right there in what's happening to society today. We don't have people going up there representing our best interests. They're wearing a NASCAR jacket, so to speak. Anyway, I've been on my high horse a little bit, aggravated, the way things is going. Feed prices are going out the roof. Got to go up on the eggs. I know the stores has went up. I seen a post that they went from $3.12 on 8/24 to $3.99 for commercial white eggs, and now brown eggs is pushing $6 and $6.99. Some of them $9.99 for an 18-pack, and the small farmer has to feed a bag at a time. Can't buy it in bulk. Is getting hurt that way too, and it just ain't right, folks. And people not wanting to pay for decent food. They want this processed stuff. They want donuts and spam luncheon meat and all this turkey bacon and garbage like that to eat on. Turkey dogs and all that junk. And then they turning around and putting all this canned foods. They're using county and city water systems to can the foods that's got the chemicals from the water supplies in them, and they've cut back on the amount of product in the can, added more water. So that's something else that you're looking at. Even a can of soup now is pushing $2 for a can of Campbell's soup. That's pushing $2, I noticed in the store. And You know, I can process my own tomatoes and run them through a blender and make my own tomato soup, you know, versus buying that in the store and making a can of soup. I can do that myself, and it's a whole lot better, and I can make vegetable soup out of it by saving the stuff out of my garden. And you need to watch some prior videos in our library. We talk about how much you can make off of a pack of seeds. That what I'm speaking of is profit, either by selling it locally from your front door, or a farmer's market, or by canning it and saving it for the winter, because you can take a pack of seeds. I don't care what you got. If it ain't but 35 seeds for tomatoes, you can take them 35 seeds and have 35 plants, and look at the number of tomatoes you're gonna have. Same way with okra. You know, you can get a 1/4 ounce of okra and stuff, and look how much okra you're gonna have. And you can just take and cut that stuff up and put it in a jar and can it and have a homemade vegetable soup. You can get you some good farm-raised chicken, pasture-raised chicken or quail, and put that stuff can that meat. Oh my goodness, put that in a vegetable soup and have you a vegetable beef soup. Look how much money you can save. Anyway, I hope this has not been rambling on too much for you. I think I've been speaking the truth about what's happening, and people need to be made aware of what's happening. And what if they pull the plug on subsidizing the farms? And that'd be a good way. They could pull the subsidizing of the farms at any time, shut the farms down, and you're gonna be stuck eating fake meat. Imagine that. That's what they want to go to anyway. I made a video called "Fake Meat," and I think it's been said in some of the articles that it was the world's largest plant being built in North Carolina, and they want you to go by way of cultivated meat, lab-grown meat, that they're gonna put minerals and proteins and pump it full of chemicals and everything else to make it look like you're eating something that you're not. You know, same way with this Impossible Burger and this vegan burger and all this fake meat they want you to eat. You know, they had you can go to one fast food restaurant, I won't call it by name, but you can search it on YouTube. They call it the Goop Burgers and the Goop Nuggets. And you can see this old pink goop come out of this great big old stainless steel thing, and it go onto this conveyor belt, and it's mashed out and pressed out and run through this cooker, and when they cook it, it turns brown. Looks like a hamburger patty. Look it up. You'll be surprised what you see there. It was actually on 60 Minutes. But all this fake meat and stuff that they trying to shove down your throat, and there's a group behind it. They meet in Davos every year, and they fly all these jets in, and they preach all this scam environment stuff, and it's all a setup to get control of everything, get the power, get the control, get the money, and get people under control, population control, and all that stuff. Now, I can guarantee you this video is probably going to be have a content thing put on it for false information, but we all gonna know that what I'm telling you is the truth, but they'll probably label it. But keep all that in mind. Do yourself your own research, because it's happening. You're gonna be forced to eat bugs for too long, because the meat prices, the actual meat that gives you the protein you need to survive. You know, don't go by what all these people tell you, that protein and all this meat's not good for you. The protein is what makes you healthy. Just like the raw milk. They do not want anybody getting raw milk, because that stuff has got so much nutrition in it and vitamins that it's excellent for you. Drinking raw milk is excellent for you. But no, they want to send it through these companies and have it all processed and cooked out, and all the good gone out of it and pump it full of water, and so forth. And then by the time you get it, they have to actually put vitamin A and D in it to have it called whole milk. And everything out there is a marketing ploy, folks. We're going to be doing a little video on that and talking about how a lot of this marketing stuff is a bunch of garbage. I appreciate you joining us today on Deep River Farm. I hope you have a blessed evening, and do yourself your own research. Don't believe what you hear. Do your own research, and I encourage you to do so. Have a blessed day.